They have no timeouts remaining.
He causes too many timeouts. That's a technical foul.
They have a timeout.
Buzzer can't do so.
I don't think they had a timeout. Did they have the one left?
It'll be a technical foul.
Welcome to No Timeouts Left. Hosted by Coach Klein and Money Mike Phillips. Hey, Coach Klein here, back on the air. No Timeouts Left, episode 22, along with
Money Mike Phillips.
And we are here to talk some sports today. We are going to lead off with some NCAA talk, specifically about NCAA football, the games that took place in the first week.
Football's back, baby.
Right?
I'm so ready.
Me too, man.
My body is ready.
We will also talk about the AP rankings that finally came out and some key games to watch this weekend.
I'm already
even
itching.
one this week.
You're itching too.
Right? Yeah.
We're ready.
Always itching. Anyways.
For football, man.
Hey, man. It always seems like forever in between football seasons.
It does.
Hockey season off season goes pretty fast.
Yeah.
Basketball too.
Yeah.
Football takes a while.
Yeah, they really stretch it out. They got to tease you for a little bit.
Something we will be talking about down the line when they finish discussing it is the potential of a longer football season or longer playoffs. So
I've heard talk of them like cutting the preseason games down and just making them regular season games.
Yeah, making two more regular season games or making a 14-team playoff.
Ooh, I don't know which one I like better.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what they come up with, but when they come up with it, we'll talk about it.
Oh yeah.
So, speaking of which, we will talk NFL, we will talk injuries, major injuries, suspensions, signings, and the breaking news that shook the football world of Andrew Luck retiring.
I'm still upset about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking, but
I'm upset, but I understand.
I think it's the right decision.
I understand.
We'll also talk about some NBA news with Dwight Howard, some James Harden news, Kuzma, Team USA, and we'll discuss a little bit about Carmello Anthony as well.
Carmello.
The final subject we will talk about before we roll into Chance versus Chumps and close out the show is Major League Baseball, and there's a lot going on there.
Oh, yeah.
So welcome back. This is No Timeouts Left, episode 22.
Are you ready? Because we're ready.
I think it's safe to say that all these fans came out here to watch a game of football.
John, we're in commercial.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making conversation.
All right, time to talk a little bit about some college football. Did you watch any?
I watched a few.
Yeah.
I definitely watched a good portion of the Florida-Miami game.
Yeah, I did too. I was exhausted from work, so I passed out and I missed the end.
It was a great game.
It was a great game. It was more than I was expecting. It had a lot of drama to it.
Oh yeah, and Florida kind of took off in the first half. You know, like they were gaining some distance on them, and then by the end, like I didn't catch the end. I had to watch the highlights, but Miami made it a game in the end. It was crazy, dude.
They did. However, they did not win.
Just barely.
The Florida Gators win 24-20. Florida had 10 sacks. I don't know if that speaks to the defensive line of Florida or the offensive line of Miami or both or the schemes. Yeah, I don't know. That was Florida showed up on defense.
Definitely watch out for Florida's defensive line throughout the season after that.
Yeah, that kind of. I'm still not too high on the Gators this season. I'm never high on the Gators.
Nah, I try not to be.
Yeah, I try not to be either. But I'll call a spade a spade. They looked better than I was expecting.
Oh yeah, the fake punt. Mm-hmm. The fake punt was pretty good, and then the 66-yard touchdown after.
Yep.
Dude was just breaking tackles left and right, took off, blazing speed.
One Miami player
impressed.
we need to mention is DJ Dallas. 12 carries, 95 yards, 1 touchdown, and a long run of 50 yards.
Oh, he was looking like a little beast. If he would have got 20 carries, he would have been well over 120 yards easily.
Could you tell it was a rivalry game?
Oh yeah, it felt like one, man.
Dude, it was.
There's nothing like those college rivalries, man.
I'm glad I at least passed out when I did, because I saw the majority of the game, because it kept me awake. That was great. I haven't gotten to watch too much football live in the last few years, so getting to kind of lay down, relax, chill, and watch some football that excited me enough to stay awake till almost the very end.
Then your body just gave up on you.
Yeah, it was.
The brain was like, "Shut it down, shut it down."
Saturday night's my end all night. So.
That's when you wake up, like the TV's still on ESPN, and you got like a can of beer in your hand. You're like, oh.
Right.
Who won? Like, how many times I've woken up on a couch and asked somebody who won? I couldn't even count. Yeah.
Is the game over?
Oh,
it's been 2 days.
Oh gosh.
All right. Another game that took place over the weekend was Arizona versus Hawaii, a high-scoring game where Hawaii took the win, 45-30.
Wasn't expecting Hawaii to come out on top of that one.
Man, when you get 6 turnovers, you shouldn't win.
But their wide receiver was tearing it up.
Yeah.
He got as many touchdowns as they threw interceptions.
Cedric Byrd, 14 receptions, 224 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That sounds like something I did on the NCAA 14.
That sounds like a matchup issue. Like they had nobody that could match up against that guy.
No, clearly not.
Because I'm sure they tried multiple different looks on him after he got 100 yards.
It'll be curious to see what he does in the next game. Or the rest of the season, really. It could be a standout receiver. You never know. Khalil Tate, the quarterback for Arizona, misses the game-tying touchdown by 1 yard in the final seconds.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
Yep.
That's like the Titans in the Super Bowl, man.
Yep.
That 1 yard short.
Yep.
I remember I went to a Titans game, like, it was maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, and they played the Steelers, and the Steelers fans were chanting 1 yard short while we were walking into the stadium, and I was like, oh, this is why I hate y'all. Like,
This just makes me think of that NFL playoffs commercial like 10 years ago where Don Cheadle was on it, and he takes the ball and he has it at the like few inches line away from the end zone, and he goes, and he crosses the end zone with it, goes, and puts it back and goes,
I love it, man.
Oh, that's rough. So anyways, those were 2 exciting games to watch in the first week. Great to be back watching football. Some key games to look for this weekend, or actually we'll start with the Thursday game. It's Georgia Tech and Clemson, 29th. By the time this podcast comes out, that game might be taking place.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is Wednesday night.
Do you think there's a possibility of an upset in that game at all?
Doubtful, but I would love it.
Like percentage-wise,
I
what
love
would you
watching
say?
number 1 get rocked right at the beginning of the season. It doesn't happen often.
They always turn it around, but
right.
Like we've seen teams like
I don't think Clemson's scared though.
No, not at all. And that could be their Achilles heel though.
Yeah,
you can get overconfident.
But Davo's got it on lock right now. So
I doubt he's letting them slip mentally at all.
It's a rivalry game. We'll see how it goes, but it's definitely a key game because it's number 1 opening up against a conference rival in Georgia Tech.
What's your prediction?
I'm going to say Clemson. I'm going to say Georgia Tech hangs in there for a little bit, and then Clemson just runs away with it.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say it's like a 45-24 kind of game, you know? Like where they maybe hang in the first half.
Yeah,
and then
probably
it's
something
just,
like that.
I
don't think it'll be too big a blowout.
Nah.
Let's see. Saturday at both games at 6:30, you have number 11 Oregon at number 16 Auburn. That should be a great game.
SEC football, baby.
And another SEC game, purely SEC on this one. And number 3 Georgia at Vanderbilt. It's a game to watch because you never know with Vanderbilt, and Georgia's playing away. I'm not saying Vanderbilt's going to pull it out, but again, I love seeing top teams get rocked early in the season.
Oh yeah,
it adds a whole nother dynamic to the rankings.
I would love to just like go and scalp some tickets.
Yeah,
like might be able to do that. Happens, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely see how Alabama gets affected. We got to mention their two top linebackers have gone down with injuries now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not exactly sure of the length of the injuries at the moment.
I know Moses is out for a while because it was a knee injury.
Yeah, ACL. He's probably out for season.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to look that up real quick. Moses is the veteran signal caller for the Alabama defense. He's a key piece to what they do and how they operate on that side of the ball. And he's being replaced, I believe, by a true freshman, as well as the other linebacker is also being replaced by a true freshman. It's Alabama. I don't think they have anything to be too worried about. I'm sure they have somebody in line to call the signals. But,
oh, yeah.
I mean, it could be one of those freshmen.
Yeah.
They might have one of them do it. But
might have to step up, man. You got to do what you got to do.
That is definitely going to add a dynamic to number 2 Alabama's season.
I just don't see Saban letting them there's no way he lets them slip up, you know?
Yeah.
They might be a little weaker on the inside, but he's got some.
Yeah.
Alabama usually ends up getting the best players possible.
Oh, absolutely. But they're liable to have one down season.
Oh, yeah. But even that one season when they lost, what did they lose, 2 games and they still won the championship?
Right.
That was crazy.
That's what I'm saying is a down season for them is like a great season for Vanderbilt.
I remember I was so excited that they lost 2 games. And and then they still made it to the championship.
Yep. So speaking of which, you got the AP rankings out. You have number 1 Clemson, number 2 Alabama, number 3 Georgia, number 4 Oklahoma, number 5 Ohio State. How are you feeling about that top 5 right there?
It's a pretty solid top 5.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I really can't argue with any of those decisions because they all have great coaches. They all have great programs. Mm-hmm. That's probably one of the most solid top 5s I've seen in a while.
What's your weakest in that top 5?
I'd say weakest is probably my gut tells me Ohio State or Georgia.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that because Georgia seems to be quite often overrated. I would say Ohio State probably top 10.
Yeah.
Don't know about top 5 finish. Mm-hmm. And like I just said, it'll be curious to see where Alabama ends up in all this.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of Saban and who they are and what they've done, that is a big blow to that team.
It's saying Moses is likely out for all of 2019. Yep.
Number 6, LSU. Number 7, Michigan. Number 8, Florida. Maybe living up to the hype. We'll see. Maybe. Number 9, Notre Dame. Number 10, Texas. There's your top 10.
What's your weakest there?
I'm going to say Texas, actually. Yeah. I don't think they're quite there yet.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Go for it.
Who do you think will be the most likely to jump the furthest in that top 10?
Well, it'd have to be somebody
in the lower half, obviously.
Right. At this present moment, I'm going to say Florida, actually, for now.
Just because we've seen them play already.
Right.
And the defensive line was great.
I would say LSU would be my other choice.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, SEC bias to a point.
Yeah, a little bit. But
it's hard to deny that fact that SEC football is just.
Why do you think it's always talked about? Is SEC not going to be the best anymore? Yeah,
I don't discredit other conferences. I'm a Florida State fan.
ACCs look solid.
I try to stick with the ACC too, but the SEC is just predominantly there.
You see it all the time when you face an SEC team, even if they're one of the lower ones like a Vandy or a Kentucky, they can still put up points on you. They can still come from behind and get a win or something, because they're used to playing the Alabamas and the Georgias and the LSUs, these guys don't go away.
Right. Let's go ahead and do the next 5. You got number 11 Oregon, who are playing number 16 Auburn. We'll get to that. You have number 12 Texas A&M. You have number 13 Washington. Number 14 Utah. Number 15 Penn State. Kind of cool to see Utah that high up in the rankings. You don't see them up there that often.
Yeah, they did very well last year, weren't they? I want to say they were undefeated for a long time.
For a good bit of the season, I believe.
Yeah, they were up there.
Alex Smith's alma mater, I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think those rankings probably sound about right. Washington would probably be my wild card out of that. I don't see them lasting up in the top 15.
And after
hanging in the top 25, maybe, but I don't know about top 15.
I'll have to see that Oregon-Auburn game to really make my decision,
Yeah,
because
it's early.
Somebody's got to lose, you know.
Yeah, and it's early, man. When it comes to college football, I never pay too much attention to AP rankings or just rankings in general.
I'm just excited, so we had to go over them.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we got to talk about it. We got to have something to talk about on the show. Number 16, Auburn. Number 17, University of Central Florida. Number 18, Michigan State. Number 19, Wisconsin. Number 20, Iowa. And we'll just go ahead and throw in number 21 following number 20, Iowa. Iowa State.
Hey.
The state of Iowa showing up in the top 25 together.
They're showing out right now.
That's a pretty good deal. I would agree with most of those.
Where's Iowa Tech at?
Right. Iowa A&M. Iowa Community College. Central Florida being up there, that's pretty impressive, and I'm honestly not surprised. That school's been building and building over the years.
It really has.
It's interesting to see the shift in the state of Florida in terms of recruiting.
Oh, yeah.
Because Central Florida, South Florida, Florida International, and where's Kiffin? Is it Florida International?
Florida Atlantic?
Or A&M.
A&M, yeah.
Or no, it might be
Atlantic. I can't remember.
Yeah, you have so many schools who actually can play ball.
Kiffin's my chump because I can never remember where he's at now.
And of course, you have the standard top three of Florida State, and Miami.
Oh, yeah.
It's just interesting to see how that's all taking place with the smaller schools kind of rising their ranks and showing up.
And UCF talks a lot of smack online too.
Well, UCF's been consistent over the last few years.
They haven't got a shot at the college football playoffs yet, have they?
No, they haven't. I would love to see them work their way in there, though.
I think they could if they just keep bullying people online. Like, we're undefeated too, like that. It might work eventually, you know.
So we'll finish it out. Number 22, Syracuse. Number 23,
surprise.
Washington State. Number 24, Nebraska. Hey, Nebraska. Appreciate the listens, guys.
Yeah.
Number 25, Stanford.
Much love for Nebraska.
Right.
Dude, I remember when Nebraska used to be like that team.
Oh, what was that quarterback's name?
I remember
Tommy Frazier.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember they were on the cover of like when NCAA had like 2 or 3 video games out when it wasn't just EA.
Different football video games are now. There's
many.
only one.
Yeah, give us 2K back. It was better.
Please, 2K5 was one of the greatest games of all time.
You could do the first person mode. Which
I mentioned that to somebody the other day that I know
clunky.
played that, and they didn't remember that. I was like, how do you not remember that? That was like groundbreaking.
Imagine 2K19 football with the virtual reality helmet on.
Right.
And you're actually playing in, dude.
But EA Sports wants to go and ruin everything for everybody like they often do.
What
Anyways,
could have been?
we
We
digress.
I'm sorry.
Let's get back to the top 25. I think this is a very interesting and undoubtedly very diverse and different top 25 to start the year.
Oh, yeah. A couple of non-typical names on here, man.
Well, and you're looking down the list and you see previous ranking. Quite a few of the ones after 10 are non-ranked.
Oh, yeah. We got Nebraska wasn't ranked, Stanford,
Oregon,
Iowa State, of course,
Auburn,
Wisconsin, Michigan State.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
All of them very solid teams, so
right.
You never know. You really never know with college football. These will be completely different next week, and that'll just make it more fun to talk about.
And it'll change every week.
As the rankings change, I'm going to love these conversations.
Yeah. Well, I think that's enough for college football. Let's move on to the pro level. Let's see. We will start off with some suspension news. You got Taylor Lewan, which we knew was coming.
We were just praying against it.
Right. 4 games for PEDs. That's a pretty big deal. That's a powerhouse and a leader for the Titans. That's
Anchor on that line.
That's going to hurt them a lot.
And especially since they have 2 very fragile quarterbacks.
Yep.
Both of these guys have had injury problems, and you're losing your left tackle, the blind side.
Yep.
Sad.
And then number 2 on the suspension list, Patrick Chung for cocaine possession, honorary chump of the week, maybe of the year. Man, that was stupid. You got to stay away from that stuff, buddy.
You gotta hustle, I guess.
Nothing good that comes from that. As much as I hate to say this, just ask Michael Irvin.
Yeah, like I don't understand how people are out here just like doing cocaine and playing football.
Yeah.
Is your heart gonna explode or something? Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's too much.
So injuries to add to missing players reports, if you want to call it that. Cam Newton, left foot, expected to be back by week 1, but we don't know.
Yeah, they could take it easy on him.
Foot issues suck. I would know.
Yeah, I've had a few of my own.
Been
skateboarding.
I'm sure you have. I've been dealing with a stress fracture off and on for the last few months, so hopefully he doesn't have that. I can't remember what the injury was.
Do you imagine just like immediately hurting your foot and then like 2 weeks later they're like, okay, you gotta go out there and play football for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm good.
Do you rest him if he's not 100%? Of course he's gonna fight that, I'm sure.
Week 1, you can take a loss week 1 just to save your franchise quarterback, I feel like.
Yeah, I would.
It'd just be smart in my opinion.
Yeah. And who knows, it might not even be a loss.
Yeah.
You never know.
You could squeak one out. Sure. McCaffrey could have like a 250-yard game or something.
Who's their backup quarterback?
Could not tell you. Did they draft Will Grier?
I can't remember. While you're looking that up, I will move on to Lamar Miller suffers a torn ACL in the blowout preseason game loss to the Cowboys. That really sucks, man.
Yeah.
Lamar Miller is a good back, and he just can't catch a break, it seems like.
He's like quietly good, too. That's what I like about Lamar Miller.
Mm-hmm. Cardinals rookie wide receiver Hakeem Butler fractured his hand. Not a good thing for a receiver to do. I bet that sucked.
Well, that explains why they went out and got who they got. Well, we'll talk about that a little later.
Right. And then Josh Gordon taken off of injured reserve, so a little reverse here. Josh Gordon reinstated, right?
Yeah, Josh Gordon's back.
Yep.
We'll see if he can stay off the weed.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, just everything to do with Josh Gordon.
Yep.
Just get back to that. What did he have, like 1,600 yards that one year? That was crazy.
Yeah, something like
that. The dude was killing it for the Browns that year. Like, nobody could touch that guy.
Nope. And signings, we'll lead off with what you were just saying. Michael Crabtree signs with the Cardinals. Good for him. He needs some work. Let's see if he's still got it.
The Panthers did sign Will Grier, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he's the backup.
Yeah, they drafted him this year.
Hey, that's not a bad backup.
Could it be a Dak Prescott, Tony Romo type situation going on here?
Who knows?
Ooh.
You know, I've always said I don't see Cam finishing with the Panthers.
I don't either. I could see him with a team like the Redskins for some reason.
Or the Broncos. I don't know why. Well, I don't know about now.
Yeah.
Who knows? But let's see. Another signing, Bucks re-signed Testaverde Jr., as we've mentioned. Blaine Gabbert got hurt. Testaverde Jr. had been signed to a preseason deal, been released, and now he's back with the team after that injury. It'd be cool to see him kind of reclaim his dad's old throne there back in Tampa.
That would be so cool.
I mean, I don't have too much faith in Jameis as a Bucks fan, but it would be interesting to see the Testaverde name back on the Bucks huddle, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, Testaverde, like his dad, even like played for the Cowboys in his later years.
Yeah,
he played for like half the league, but
he started with the Bucks, and he's the one that started the huge contracts. He got paid.
I remember that was probably like one of those quarterbacks where I was like thankful to have him because I'd been watching like Chad Hutchinson, like Quincy Carter back there,
the failed project there. I liked Quincy. He just
couldn't
turn it on, man. And Testaverde played for a long time,
too.
Yeah,
he did. He even had like a little stint there. I remember like everybody in the NFL was talking about it when he was playing for the Cowboys. He just like didn't throw an interception for like it was a ridiculous amount of games.
Yeah. That's right. I remember that.
It was like 10 plus games he hadn't thrown one. And I'm like, at 40 years old, this dude's killing it.
Right. Let's see. There was another move that we just saw a little bit ago. The Titans traded for a linebacker from the Green Bay Packers. And let's see. Reggie Gilbert traded to the Titans for a 7th-round pick. The Titans need a little bit of help at linebacker, so I think that's a good little move.
All the Titans linebackers are fairly old besides the guy they got from Alabama.
Right.
Yeah.
And, giving up a 7th round pick that's nothing huge. That's a good little deal right there. See, I guess that's about it for any big moves.
Yeah, I didn't see anything really. Like the Patriots picked up a offensive lineman.
From
They
the
traded.
Ravens.
Yeah, they traded the Ravens for him.
Right.
I'm not even going to try to butcher his name. It's like Olamiri. I tried. I said I wasn't going to, but I couldn't help it.
And finally, we'll talk about the biggest move in the NFL this week, and that is Andrew Luck's sudden retirement after 7 seasons.
Yeah. I think he came in the league at 22. He's 29 now.
So
A little Barry Sanders-esque.
Yeah.
A little Megatron-esque.
And Andrew Luck has been through a horrible repeating cycle of being hurt and rehabbing and coming back with all this promise, especially filling the shoes of one Peyton Manning.
He got referred the job by Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
They asked him who he thought they should take. It was him or Robert Griffin III, man.
They made a good choice.
Listen to Peyton always.
And Andrew Luck worked hard. There was no question about that ever.
And he was smart. Dude's from Stanford.
Yeah, super smart, great player.
He's got like an architecture degree.
Right.
So he's got that to fall back on.
Yeah. Was it a smart move for him? I would say yes.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't see how you could say no to that.
no. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to listen to your body, especially if you're like putting yourself out there and putting it on the line day in and day out. If you don't feel like you can go anymore and go at a high level, then I completely understand this decision,
Yeah, and the feeling of feeling, stuck and burnt out.
Oh, yeah.
Who wants to be in that never-ending cycle of being hurt, surgery, rehab, recovery, play, hurt? It's just going on and on.
I don't even like jobs that I'm burnt out on. Like,
I know what you mean.
Come in the same morning person smiling at you like, hey, how's it going? And you're just like, like every day it's a cycle, and then you just get burnt out, and one day you leave. So I understand. Like,
and unfortunately, of course, Andrew Luck caught a lot of flack, especially from Colts fans and some other sports reporters, as we will mention later in the show.
Sorry, dudes.
I thought it was terrible that he got booed. He gave his heart and soul to that team.
Yeah.
Don't boo that man.
Don't.
I saw a great video of somebody showing a Luck jersey, and they acted like they were about to burn it, and then all of a sudden they put the flame out of the lighter and then gave a thumbs up, and it said "Thank you for everything." And I was like, "There you go. That's much better."
I saw the picture of the dude wearing the jersey, and he taped the F over the L and put well. So there's like well at the time. Yeah, you get the picture.
Yep. Wow. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Jacoby Brissett is the backup, so it's not like they're lacking at quarterback. Jacoby Brissett is a promising prospect.
He's had flashes.
He's had flashes, and he's sat behind the Luck for a couple of years, 2-3 years.
He's a Belichick guy too. He came from the Patriots.
Also true.
So
I would not discredit this guy. Will he be ready? I don't think right off the bat. I think in time.
It'll take a little bit to shake the rust off.
If he gets in rhythm, I think he'll be good.
He can move too.
He can.
The dude can scoot.
I mean, not that Andrew Luck was immobile, but he's a lot faster than Andrew Luck.
Might help him in the long run. I mean, because that line was beating up Luck.
What would your prediction be this year with Jacoby Brissett at the helm?
Without Luck, how do we think the AFC South's gonna look? Like,
That's
Colts
tricky.
Are the Colts still the team? Do the Jaguars come up with Nick Foles? Like, does Deshaun Watson have like an amazing year? Do the Titans come out of nowhere like they sometimes do? Mm-hmm. Like, this is all like going through my head right now. And honestly, I want to say
AFC South is up for grabs right now.
I say if the Colts win at least 7 or 8 games, it's a win for this season. Honestly, with that kind of thing happening, like if you can pull out 7 or 8. Just ride it out, Like you might get lucky; they might pull a 9-7.
Yeah,
squeak into the wild card because they still have players. T.Y. Hilton's still there.
Yeah,
Marlon Mack had really good games last year.
Speaking of T.Y. Hilton, I gotta say he put out an emotional tweet about Andrew Luck, and hats off to him, showing some major love for his quarterback. Not Terrell Owens style.
That's my quarterback, man. That's my quarterback.
He he talked about the bond they had and how special that was to him, and he's going to dedicate the season to Andrew Luck.
Oh,
great move by him.
Snagging him in my fantasy already.
Yep, right.
1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, calling it.
Oh, hey, prediction. Let's hold
Well,
you to
1,100. I'll be more modest.
Okay, 1,100, 10 touchdowns.
8 touchdowns.
8. Oh, come on, you're changing it.
I'm
now.
lowering it. I'm lowering my expectations.
Changing it now.
It's Jacoby Brissett, man. You got to give us the slack.
We'll see.
He could even have like a 950 yard season. Jacoby Brissett, that's a win. You know.
You never know. We'll wait and see. Let's see. I guess that's about it for the NFL. We will take a quick break and hear a message from our sponsors at Rise Up Podcast Community, and we'll be back in just a second.
I'm Ty Yeager, and I want to introduce you to the Rise Up Podcast Community, a community for podcasters created by podcasters, dedicated to the promotion and growth of podcasts everywhere. Rise Up is not a network. There are no contracts and no control over your content, just a vessel for you to spread the word of your work and connect with fellow podcasters to collaborate, create, and promote. And guess what? It doesn't cost you a single cent to join the community. Join the Rise Up Podcast Community today by visiting our website at bit.ly/riseuppodcommunity and follow the community on Twitter at RUPodCommunity. Again, that's bit.ly/riseuppodcommunity and at RUPodCommunity on Twitter. Come and join the community of podcasts and rise up with us. Rise Up Podcast Community.
All right, we're back from our little break there. Thank you, Rise Up Podcast Community, and all those involved. We appreciate all the support that you guys give us, and we love sharing it with you guys. So it's time to talk a little bit about basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah. Too bad we can't use that song, so don't sing it anymore. We
No.
might get taken off the air.
I should have said it like a little differently, I guess.
You didn't hear that? No. So big news out of LA. Cousins goes down. Dwight Howard goes to the Lakers.
Oh, yeah. Reunion.
What was it? Memphis bought out his contract. So he's now an LA Laker again.
The first stint didn't go well.
No. I would say if he... I've always been down on, or not always, but I've been down on Dwight Howard for quite some time, basically since he left the Magic, because I feel like he's really never lived up to his full potential.
Oh, yeah.
So if he can kind of turn that back around.
That was the closest he got to his full potential was in Orlando.
Yep, I totally agree.
When he was just slamming on people left and right.
Yep, Superman.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it'll be an interesting dynamic in LA having him back. I think this time around having LeBron, it'll be interesting the egos to see the egos work together. But
even if he's just a good rotational player,
yeah,
I mean,
that could really help them. Like I said, if he plays up to his potential, man, they're solid.
Oh yeah, if he stays away from injury but we'll see if they can get a solid 60 games out of him. I think they'll be happy.
What was it you mentioned earlier about James Harden?
Oh, James Harden. He had the sexiest one-footed three-pointer, dude.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was nice. Like, this dude is the king of just making up, like, new ways to do stuff.
Just stupid ways to shoot the basketball.
Yeah, basically.
Or just shake somebody.
The step backs that look like he's traveling and... Like, I still don't understand
soles,
that.
Not their ankles.
And he'll just look down at them while they're on the floor.
It's like, what are you doing?
And then shoot the ball. That's my favorite thing in the world. But it's also hilarious when they miss after they do that.
Yeah.
You're just like, you thought.
Nothing. Nothing. And then Kyle Kuzma, what happened with him?
He went down with a foot injury. He's decided to go to not be with the Team USA. It's a left ankle injury.
Yeah. So
probably better safe than sorry, and I'm sure the Lakers would greatly appreciate that. Team USA actually, let's see who's actually left on the team now, because I mean they've been struggling with injuries and people like not wanting to even play for them, honestly. So it's like, what do we do at this point? Like, we just lost to Australia the other day. That was a 78 game win streak we broke.
Yep.
Like,
what was it, 98, 94? It wasn't like they blew us out.
Yeah, but we were clawing back to try and get back in it the whole time.
So here's the Team USA roster. You got Harrison Barnes, Jaylen Brown, Joe Harris, Brooke Lopez, Chris Middleton, Donovan Mitchell, Mason Plumlee, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Miles Turner, Kemba Walker, Derek White, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I say, who do you think's our best player right now?
I'd say probably Kemba. Honestly.
I'm going Kemba or Jason Tatum. If Tatum gets a spark, he's and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah,
we saw how good he did He did last year. I couldn't even talk. I was like, he did.
Yeah.
I also like Jaylen Brown. He can play defense very well, and he can also be one of those guys that can catch fire really fast and sustain it. Actually, there's been so many times I've been frustrated watching a Boston game, because usually I'm only watching if they're playing the Bulls, and then I get really in my feelings watching him just tear us apart sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I hope Team USA kind of gets back on track and starts playing well.
I think they won their next exhibition game, so I think they're bouncing back. They're bouncing back.
Yeah.
We'll see if another gold is in the midst.
We'll see. So from that news, we'll move on to Carmelo Anthony. Just kind of a talking point for us. We've been talking back and forth in the group chat a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
About Carmelo Anthony. Is he being blackballed?
I'd have to say, if I'm going with what the players are saying, I got to say yes. But my gut wants to say no, because I've seen the way Melo's played the last couple of years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that and his attitude and his ego at times, he kind of brings that upon himself. I wouldn't totally say he's blackballed. I'd say there is definitely a negative feeling towards him in the league.
Oh, yeah.
But I think his actions and just the way he doesn't really flow with teams sometimes.
Yeah. He's got he's got the Kobe mentality without the skills, he wants the ball.
Keep him in place.
He wants to be the man. Mm-hmm. He wants to be a star. He was a star at one point.
Yep.
Imagine,
God, I remember when he was a rookie, man.
Imagine having that much potential, that much, everything's, in your hands, and then just all of a sudden you don't have it anymore. Yeah. But you still have that mindset, I could turn it on. I can still do it.
Yeah.
And you want it so bad. You want to get back in the game so bad. And, I mean, he's got players backing him up. LeBron came to his aid. Yep. He's been saying that there's no way there's so many players that are ahead of Carmelo Anthony on the rankings list. I think it was a ridiculous amount of players.
Yeah. But I mean, I could believe that. It's, he's got to prove that he can still go.
Yeah, I just haven't seen it from him. He doesn't have the defense. He's never had defense. But we see a lot of veteran players that don't have defense. When they get to that age, they start developing a defense because they understand the game and they understand that they're not going to be the high scorer. They got to take a back seat and learn how to help their team in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely have to agree.
And I think that's the problem Carmelo has probably been having. It's just he doesn't want to do anything he doesn't want to do.
So is he being blackballed? Maybe. I would say time will tell. He's like I just said, he's got to prove himself. So if he can make a little comeback and prove himself, great.
And injuries happen. Injuries happen. Yeah. We could definitely see him on a team at some point in the year.
Yep.
If not playing in the Big Three league, that would be hilarious. Let him go to the Big Three. I would watch Carmelo Anthony in the Big Three league. It'd basically be Carmelo versus Joe Johnson.
I didn't even think about it. Oh, yeah, that's right. That would be cool. I'd be okay with
Joe
that.
Johnson's been going off in the Big Three league.
Yeah, of course he has.
Oh, yeah. He's playing against a bunch of old men.
No surprise. Well, speaking of going off, we're going to transition over to Major League Baseball talk. There's been a lot of going off, kind of like Verlander going off on another ref and getting ejected again.
What else is new?
Let's see. Going off, we'll mention a couple record breakers here. We got Pete Alonso, who's got to be the Rookie of the Year this year for the New York Mets. 42 home runs in his rookie season.
Killing it.
That's an impressive number right there. And he has been killing it. And I think that record has stood since 1938.
1938.
That's a long-standing record. And that's I got to say, man, this guy's got to be in the running for the Rookie of the Year. He's got to be the Rookie of the Year. He's been playing excellent. Not to discredit anybody else in the running, but I just think that's an impressive stat, especially for a not so great team who's been playing probably better than they should have.
Oh yeah, definitely playing above our expectations.
One we just got a little bit ago is Aristide Aquino, fastest to 9 and 13 home runs in his career. 13 home runs in 27 games. In his first 27 games.
Wow.
What?
Like, the dude's unstoppable. It seems like every other time I get on ESPN, they're talking about this guy breaking another home run record.
Yep.
Like,
and he could be crushing it for a long time. Let's wait and see.
Didn't he come up from the
minors?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did.
That's crazy.
Aaron Judge, third fastest to 100 career home runs in his first 3 seasons with the New York Yankees. The big slugger, slugging it all season. I think he has 18 on the year. And then one we just got as we started recording, Max Scherzer, his 8th straight season of 200 strikeouts. It is the second longest streak in Major League Baseball history.
Man.
There's a lot going on in terms of just great play and record breaking in Major League Baseball, and it's so awesome to see. It sucks to see baseball's numbers continue to kind of go down when there's so many great things happening in the sport.
Oh, it can only go up. I mean, as long as the play keeps being as interesting and exciting as it has been, I mean,
yeah.
And we're seeing a lot more high-scoring games. We talked about that before. Mm-hmm. So,
yep.
That's good for ratings. That's all.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I would love to see baseball ratings continue to improve because I love baseball, and I don't get to sit down and watch a full baseball game often, but when I do, I love to. And we'll update you with some quick injury reports for the major leagues. Indians Ramirez, fractured hand. 3rd in hits and home runs, 65 RBIs, 120 out of 473 at-bats, 20 home runs. Not good timing to have a fractured hand, not good to have a fractured hand in baseball at all. You
Especially
need your hands.
from one of your main hitters, man.
Yeah, not good.
That's going to hurt him.
And then Sandoval to undergo Tommy John surgery, out for season. Never good when you have to have Tommy John. It's not a fun process.
Nobody ever wants to hear those 2 words.
No, that is a dangerous name right there. But, some guys recover well from it and have long, healthy careers, but some guys have repeated, instances of this. So
we'll wish him the best.
We wish him the best. And we'll close out some baseball talk and head into Champs versus Chumps, but we've got to mention Louisiana winning the Little League World Series.
Killing it. Some tough kids right there.
Yeah, man. I didn't get to watch much of it this year, but great stuff, man. A Little League World Series is always fun to watch.
And it's fun because, 10 years from now, you might see these kids in the MLB,
Yeah. You never know.
There's been players that have done it.
Yep. So it's
River Ridge
out of Louisiana. Sorry. And they won their final game 8-0.
Jeez.
Yeah, they wanted it.
Smashed them.
They played well. Congrats to them.
Played Willemstad.
A school you don't really see in the runnings too often in the Little League World Series, and they get a big win. So congrats to the 2019 Little League World Series champions of River Ridge, Louisiana.
Honorary champs.
Yep, honorary champs right off the bat. And with that, we'll head into our Champs versus Chumps. All right, let's hit some Champs versus Chumps. What's your first champ of the week?
First up, we got Stipe Miocic, his father, actually, for beating cancer the same day as Stipe won the belt against Daniel Cormier.
That's the storybook right there, man.
That's champ.
That's awesome. Cancer is such a terrible thing. It seems like we all kind of deal with it at some point in our life.
I've dealt with it several times.
Yeah,
my family.
It's unfortunate, but it's very fortunate for his father to overcome that right at the same time he wins the belt. It's a little heartwarming story in UFC that you don't get too often.
Man, you don't really see that often ever.
Well, yeah,
people
but I
cancer. It's always a feat, man.
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying you don't see a whole lot of heartwarming stories in UFC. I feel like.
No.
I mean, there might be some, but
every now and then you'll get one.
Right.
And then they get beat.
Yeah. Well, it's not like Sheehy Giuseppe for the Browns, man. That's an awesome story.
You really can't beat that story, man.
Yeah, and we will reference that as long as he's kicking ass.
Just keep doing what you do, man.
Yep.
We love you here.
Yep.
Call us sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool. Let's go with our first chump of the week. Antonio Brown, yet again, a three-peat. Actually, I don't know. I've lost count of how many times we've mentioned his name as a chump.
He's the champ of chumps, dude.
Oh, he is the champ of chumps. I'm going to get an Antonio Brown jersey and, get it stitched under there. Champ of chumps.
Yeah, dude. I second that
Actually,
one.
no. I don't want to give him any of my money.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyways, Antonio Brown.
He could use it to buy a new helmet.
Yeah, exactly. Antonio Brown is our first chump of the week for filing yet another grievance over helmet issues. This is just an ongoing saga with him. I've never seen such a crybaby.
I thought it was over with. He was like, yeah, I like this new helmet. I found one that I liked. And then a couple days later, he's like, nope.
You think the Raiders are regretting that trade either?
I would.
Yeah.
Gruden's probably kicking.
Gruden's probably steaming.
He's probably destroyed so many trash cans in the locker room.
Chucky. Chucky's gonna show up. Let's see. We have a co-champ here, and this all ties into a big situation we talked about earlier on the show. Troy Aikman is the first of our co-champs on this one.
He'll always be my champ.
Of course he will. He fried Doug Gottlieb on Twitter after Gottlieb's take of Andrew Luck's reasoning for retiring being the most millennial thing he's ever seen, or something to that effect.
Troy
That's
laid
not word
into
for
him,
word.
man.
As he should. I did too. I don't really care for Gottlieb's work too much, and especially after that statement, that was just uncalled for. I mean, the man has poured his heart and soul into the game. He's beat up, man.
Literally
he's
giving
tired.
it everything he's got.
Yeah, and you're gonna say he's being a millennial, man.
Come on, dude.
I don't buy that.
At least he's being honest. He's not going out there and giving us just the worst season ever. Being so lethargic out there, like some of Jay Cutler's last couple of years,
right?
When he just wasn't in it, you know? Nobody wanted to see that.
No,
standing doing the screen pass with his hands on his hips.
No one wanted to see Brett Favre get absolutely annihilated. Now that's a little different because he was older, but I mean the end was just rough because he shouldn't have played that last season.
Oh no,
that should have been it.
He did get him pretty far in the playoffs, but man. Sacrificing the body.
He was so done at the end.
Oh yeah.
Along with Troy Aikman, Aaron Rodgers sticking up for Andrew Luck against Colts fans.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I did. I see Aaron Rodgers as that kind of guy who will speak out when he feels something is wrong, and Colts fans should not have booed Andrew Luck. Man,
no.
He had big shoes to fill. He didn't have the greatest surrounding team his whole career. And he, like we just said earlier in the show, he gave it his all to the last day. I mean, the man got stuck in a cycle of injury, rehab, recover. If you can't break that cycle, you might as well get out because you'll never break it.
It's true. I mean, he made his money. He made a lot of money.
Right.
Compared to most people, more than they'll make in their lives.
Yeah, well,
so, I mean, you can be happy with hanging up the cleats.
Right.
You know?
Just like we talked about earlier. So, we'll move on from that. We could go on and on and on and on and continue to go on about that, but we'll move on.
We already did.
Right. Our next chump. Why don't you hit me with this one?
Oh yeah, Tennessee Vols. It breaks my heart to say this because I grew up a Vols fan in an Alabama household. So do the math on that one, dude. Tennessee Vols cornerback Bryce Thompson. He was our starter last year. He did very well for us. Let's see. He actually got caught. Well, he copped an assault charge after an altercation with a woman at a campus dormitory. He even went as far as to say I think he was confronted by like a security guard or something, and he said something. This is a direct quote: "I'll slap the shit out of you." And then the witness also said he said something like, "I'll shoot up the school." It's really going to hurt the Vols in the long run because he did lead the team with 3 interceptions. He had 7 pass breakups last year. Not the greatest, but I mean, we can use everything we can get. But I mean, you don't want guys like this on the football field at the end of the day. I really don't. Like, I don't want anybody like that representing my team.
Absolutely not.
If you can lose your cool like that, like,
especially saying things like that.
And imagine, like, he does get drafted into the NFL, like, he's just a ticking time bomb at this point.
Yeah,
if you know he's got this kind of anger in him.
I don't think it's going to happen. And if he'll probably go undrafted, and if he fixes his character, he might get signed.
And the Cowboys or the Titans might get him because we're known for that.
Right. Especially the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on to another champ. This one's wrestling related. You got Tony Schiavone, the voice of WCW for many years in the 90s, a great announcer, a great personality on a podcast called What Happened When with Conrad Thompson. Check it out. It's a great show if you are a wrestling fan or were in the 90s and would love to hear all those stories from back then. It's a great show. But anyways, Tony Schiavone is now signed as an announcer for All Elite Wrestling, the company that is to a degree, compete with WWE. So it'll be cool, one, not only to see him back. He has been back announcing for a company called MLB, Major League Wrestling, but it'll be excellent to see him paired up with JR Jim Ross.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's going to be dope.
What?
Now, they worked together before in WCW and in WWF for a short stint.
Gotta love JR, man. Gotta love JR.
Yeah, good old JR.
Schiavone's going to be a nice touch too, though.
Yeah, they always work well together. It's going to be good
that
stuff.
Company is signing some talent.
Yep.
Just recently went out and got Chris Jericho.
Yep. They started with Chris Jericho.
They started with him, but
he is a big
I just
factor.
recently learned that he was on there, so I'll get that. But, like I was saying before the show, I used to do the Walls of Jericho on all my friends when we fake wrestled and stuff.
Who didn't?
Man, that hold is not fun. Like,
nothing hurts worse than the figure 4.
Oh yeah.
Wreck your shins. We got Steven out of Nashville. We'll go ahead and throw his out there. He's got a champ for us. Derrick Henry for leading most yards after contact per carry in 2018 with 2.85 yards at 100 carries minimum. And he's also got a chump for us. Also Titans related, Marcus Mariota for throwing his body on the line for a 2-point conversion in a preseason game. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
As injury prone as he is, he did not need to be doing stuff like that in preseason.
He literally had 2 numb fingers just from hitting him on somebody's helmet. Like, the dude didn't even tackle him. He just kind of hit his fingers on the helmet, and next thing you know, he's out.
Right.
For a whole, I don't even think he was really himself the whole rest of the season, to be completely honest, after that.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, when you can't feel your pinky and ring finger on your throwing hand, it's going to be a little difficult out there.
Right.
But who did we have behind him? Matt Castle? It wasn't good.
Is it Matt Castle?
Whoever it wasn't good.
Last year?
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah,
that's who's now with the Bucks.
I know Matt Castle was on our team his last couple years in the league, if he hasn't retired already.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
He might still be our number 3.
But Blaine Gabbert got hurt, speaking of which. And we'll kind of throw a little honorary champ in there. Vinny Testaverde Jr. yet again getting signed by the Bucks to replace Blaine Gabbert. So
I love me some Vinny Testaverde, man.
Right.
So if his son's anything like him, he'll have a very long career of very dink and dunk plays.
Yeah. And then we'll add another champ, a collective set of champs, and that's the young talent in the Major League of Baseball. Breaking records, like we mentioned earlier in the show, or didn't mention, there are a few breaking team records, breaking league records.
It's left and right.
It's awesome to see. A lot of people don't like the home run stuff. I enjoy it. I think it's cool. It adds to the game.
They're putting something in the
some
water.
of these records have been around forever, like we talked about.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see some of them finally get broken.
Oh, yeah.
And then we will finish with our final chump, actually sent in by TJ. our info man.
Yes.
Donovan McNabb for jinxing the Eagles made a bet they will win the Super Bowl this year.
Hey,
You know,
thank you, sir.
Donovan McNabb is interesting to me, especially when he talks post retirement. But I will never forget the day that he admitted he had no idea you could tie in the NFL. That blew my mind. I was like, "Where have you been?"
Classic Eagles player, man.
The Eagles. Anyways, that's it for Chance versus Chumps, and that's it for us here at No Timeouts Left. We appreciate the listens, the support, all the love you give us. Come follow us at No Timeouts Left 1 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. Just look us up, No Timeouts Left Podcast. You can find us on Podbean. You can find us on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. Just look us up. Yeah, we're doing all we can to do it big. If you look us up on Apple Podcasts, please rate, review, and subscribe, and show us some love. Share our podcast with the world, and we will greatly appreciate it. We love including fans on the show, so always participate with some Champs versus Chumps. Go ahead and throw them to us each week.
Yes, please.
And where can they find you on Twitter?
Mike
Instagram.
Phillips. It's all the same. Instagram, Twitter. It's MICFILLUPS.
UPS, not like FedEx.
No. That's where I work.
Right. And you can find me on Twitter at Coach Klein 90. You can find me on Instagram at Coach Klein 54. And like I said, make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Timeouts Left with your Chance versus Chumps every week. And we'll see you next time.